So, if the FAA finds something wrong during a ramp inspection, are they just going to take your airman certificate and rip it up and walk away? No. Let's take a look at the regulations because your airman certificate is actually valid if there's no expiration date on it until it's either surrendered, suspended, or revoked. In either case, all of those require actions on both the FAA and, in the surrender case, on you as well. And they're formal processes. The FAA is actually not going to take your airman certificate that day, only in the case of a possible voluntary surrender. Even if you voluntarily surrender your airman certificate, it's not as easy as just handing it over. The regulations state that you actually have to sign at least a letter saying that you are willingly giving up your airman certificate. And that looks something like this. This comes from the FAA's guidance, and it has both the airman and the FAA inspector signing and attesting that you are actually willingly giving up that airman certificate. Now, in the case of a suspension or revocation, you will get usually some sort of notification from the FAA. And typically that comes initially as the FAA's compliance brochure. If you haven't seen my video yet on pilot deviations and non-compliances with regulations, take a look at that because that'll give you a lot more insight as to how those processes work. But either way, if you get a compliance brochure to start the investigation and then a potential letter of investigation, that starts the process and it's a whole legal issue. So the FAA's legal department gets involved as well to make sure that the case is being completed appropriately and that there are acceptable facts there. So it's not just as easy as going out and taking the airman's certificate and walking away. Those things don't happen. All of that stuff has to be formally done and it has to be documented. And there's no such thing as just the FAA coming out and ripping up your airman certificate. So I hope this makes you feel a little bit better when the FAA is around, because really they truly are there to just ensure that there is compliance with the regulations and promote safety. I'll see you next time.